Hey friends, this is Sketch Dirt. I'm Marla. I'm so glad you're here. Today we are drawing the letters Q, R, S, and T. All right, so to get started, I am using pencils HB, 2B, and 4B. And the measurements for all of my letters are going to be included in the description box below, so that way it's easy to reference. And as we get started here, I am just taking the HB pencil and drawing out the letters. I'm just going along and I'm not being too careful about like the lines or anything. I just want to get the placement, because what I'm going to be doing next is going through and erasing all the lines and then taking my 2B pencil and putting in the defined lines and all the shading. And so we're farther through the series. We're almost done. We've got a couple more lessons left, but there's still a lot to learn, because like as you get through the alphabet, the letters don't get easier. I feel like they actually get a little bit harder. And I feel like this grouping of letters, the Q, R, S, and T, are some of the hardest letters in the alphabet to draw. But because we have done all the letters up until this point, there are a lot of elements that we can use to reference for drawing these letters. For example, for the Q, the O is obviously a great reference. The C is obviously a great reference. For the R, there's the P, the K, the B, the N. And then for the S, very difficult letter. I referenced the letter N, I would say. I would say the letter B in certain ways. Just, you have to kind of have something. You have to have something to go on to be able to make it cohesive with the rest of the alphabet. So you have to draw from something. And then for the T, obviously the letter F, the letter L, the letter I. But each of these in their own way are very unique letters. So you have to just use them as reference and then kind of make it up as you go along, which is what is so amazing about drawing, is that at any moment you can kind of like take it and make it your own. You know, everything is unique to what you want. So I've gotten all the letters kind of roughly drawn in, and I'm erasing the lines that I don't want, and I'm leaving behind just the areas and the reference points that I do want for when I take my 2B pencil in and start really drawing in the defined lines. Keep in mind when I do this, like this video is sped up. This video took me about an hour to do, and on top of that, I did a lot of practice beforehand. The S was actually, I did quite a bit of work on the S. I did quite a bit of work on like getting the Q, that little point on the end that defines it as a Q. I did some work on that to get it the way I want. And when you're drawing, take your time with it, unless it's something that has to be a very quick sketch. Take your time and just get it the way you want to get it, and get it the way that you're happy with. Like even when I work as a professional designer, I tell myself that going slower is actually how you go faster, because I think when you're drawing, if you tell yourself that you have to go fast, or you have to hurry, let's just do it quickly, then that's what you're telling yourself. You're not actually telling yourself to draw it the way you want it. You're telling yourself to go fast, which is like two totally different things. So you have to remind yourself to slow down, and then remind yourself to draw it the way you want to draw it. And it turns out when you do that, you'll actually go at a pretty decent pace. You'll actually go pretty quickly. And this is a great way to just learn how to draw things the way you want them to look, which is really what I think is so great about drawing, is there's an immediacy it's a very quick way to put on paper what is in your mind, which is why I have this channel. Like that's what I want everyone to be able to do, is to be able to put your ideas down on paper very quickly. And so right now what I'm doing is I've taken my 2B pencil, I've outlined all the letters the way I want, and now I'm shading everything in, still with that 2B pencil. And as I've said in the previous videos, the strategy for how to shade these is to shade the lightest areas, the white coming in from the right side, and then on the left is like a medium shade, and then from the bottom is the darkest shade. And I've done this like 3 shades, kept a certain strategy, a certain way that I'm going to do it so that it's consistent. I wanted it to be very quick and very easy. If it was more involved, there'd be more shading, there'd be more like tones to use, but I wanted this to be very quick and I wanted it to be very impactful, and I felt like this was the best way to do it. There's lots of ways to do it. You can do it in paint and markers. You don't have to do it in just pencils. But for pencils and for what my idea is here, this was the way I wanted to go with it. And so when I'm doing this, again, as I said before, reminder, I'm taking my time. In this video, it looks like I'm going super, super fast, but actually, I'm taking my time. It's going pretty slow because I want this to be very even. I want the color to be very smooth. I don't want it to really go out the lines too much. I don't want it to be too jagged, but I still want it to look very hand-drawn. I still want that human element to everything. That's what I think is so beautiful about drawing, is that kind of those imperfections and those hand elements that you can do it on a computer, but it's very tough to get these very unique individual elements that only you can do, like only you can put those in yourself. And so I'm taking time with all the shading and kind of giving consideration to where I want all the tones and all the light and dark areas, and actually just enjoying it. Like that's the other part too. Like drawing should be super fun. Like you should be having a great time while you're doing this. Also, what I've said in other videos, and I'll say it again here, if you don't need to draw all the letters for whatever you're drawing, maybe you have like a poster or you're drawing your name or there's just something very specific, you don't have to go through all the letters. You can just pick the letters you want and you can kind of make the style be whatever you want, just for whatever that word is or whatever your name is. You don't have to worry about what all the letters would be if you're only going to use 5 of them. And I say that because like me as an artist, I do tend to think that way. Like even if I was only going to use 5 letters, I would kind of think to myself like, well, what are the rest of the letters supposed to look like? Which is a fun exercise to do, but you don't have to do it unless you really want to. So now what I'm doing here is I'm going through with my 4B pencil and I'm outlining everything and shading in the darker areas. You wouldn't have to do this. I think the drawing is fine the way it is, but I wanted this to be super bold, super impactful, and taking a darker pencil and shading it in like this helps to like really emphasize that 3D dimensional effect. And that's about it. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Please comment in the comments section. I would love, love, love to hear from you. And give me some ideas on what you'd like to see me draw. Like I would really, anything like people have recommended, I've put it on my list and I'm excited to do it. Thank you so much. This is Sketch Dirt and I'm Marla. Bye.